sector extremista de derecha que hay en Venezuela, acudió al Tribunal Supremo de Justicia. Y la Sala Superior del Tribunal Electoral del Poder Judicial de la Federación, esto es la sentencia, dice que la Sala Superior de ese tribunal en México emitió dictamen relativo a los resultados de la elección presidencial del 14 de agosto de 2024, que eligió a Claudia Sheinbaum como presidente.
Claudia Sheinbaum was elected as president of the U.S., and that's a characteristic of the extreme right. They only recognize election when they win, and when they lose, they take, they burn, they murder. Mexico. Then after the sentence, Brazil. Elections on October 30, 2022 in Brazil, where was elected Luis Lula da Silva as president of Brazil. Since that election was annullated, there is a Supreme Court for electoral matters in Brazil which decided in favor of Lula da Silva. It was an attempt of coup d'etat, as the same in Venezuela, fascism and extremism looking for a way to corrupt peace. I'm going further. The sentence. Here, 2000, U.S. Candidates for the Democratic Party and Bush for the Republican Party. That sentence was so controversial that a court from Florida decided to recount votes. And when the other citizen was reaching the results, the Supreme Court of the United States of America said, stop the recount and declare George Bush as president of the U.S. Year 2000, your country. Supreme Court of Justice. Stop counting. To this, Sir Albor give a Nobel Prize, but the presidency is for George W. Bush. Who was the president at that time in America? Father of Bush. Don't be such hypocrites. With inherence in electoral systems of other countries. The electoral system of the United States is worthless. The president is not elected in the first grade. There's no verification at all. One of the ex-presidents, Barack Obama, who comes from Chicago, you put a ballot in the machine and it goes. There is no certificate. There's no audit. Who says it? Me, the authority of the Illinois states. So that you can talk about Venezuela. 32 audits of Venezuela. All of the audits of the elections of Venezuela were done and all of the political parties participated. Not only in Venezuela, where the superior jurisdiction of the Electoral Court is, also in Brazil, Mexico, the United States of America, and the whole world. There is a jurisdiction. Second, National Electoral Council goes to the Supreme Court of Justice and gives all the electoral information, cybernetic, digital, and physical, so that the council could resolve the controversy. All the rectors went there and consigned the electoral information. Someone that knows a lot about elections and never has counted and pretends to be an expert in electoral matters. He's interviewed by all the international TV news channels. How is it possible that CNE went to the Supreme Court of Justice and didn't brought a box? I'm not a lawyer, but I know that the Supreme Court of Justice needs the electoral matter. He's an ignorant. CNN said, here are the cybernetic elements at your disposal for the law of electoral process. The electoral information is guarded by the council. I don't want to go ahead, but that's what the Supreme Court of Justice did. Then they said 38 parties run. From those 38, only 33 consignated the electoral matter. I'm not going to make a list about them, but I'm going to say who didn't consignate a single ballot, as in Colombia, since they do the electoral ballots by hand. Turns out that Manuel Rosales went to the court, Jose Luis Cartaya, representative of a movement for Venezuela, members of the Alliance for Unity, and for the candidate Mundo Gonzalez is a cowardly act, since he didn't attend to the Supreme Court, which constitutes a discard. Rosales and Cartaya, what do they say? They didn't consignate electoral material at all. We have proved in all of the influencers that were bought, that were mercenaries. I want to say, where are the tally sheets? Where are the tally sheets, Calzadilla? Where are the tally sheets, González Urrutia? Where are the tally sheets, Maria Corina Machado? Where are them? They manifested, quotation, that they don't have tally sheets in front of the Supreme Court. They said, we don't have any tally sheet. We don't have tally sheets of the voting stations. They didn't participate in the transportation of the tally sheets that correspond to the political party. Before you lie to me, González Urrutia should be hidden by now. And the sentence asserts, as it is asserted in video, audio, and tally sheets of your attendance. It is in acts signed by Rosales, Calzadilla, and Cartaya. But there is also a video of Rosales, Calzadilla, and Cartaya saying that they didn't have even a napkin. Now we are the ones asking, where are the tally sheets? Why do you didn't consignate them in front of the Supreme Court of Justice? Here is the proof. Not only a piece of dirty paper bought from Amazon. Here is the proof. Do you believe that Rosales is going to bring fake papers in front of the Supreme Court of Justice? He has a lot of defects, but he's not dumb. Do you think that all of them are going to say, why am I involved here? Do you think they're going to dare to bring the acts? Why did they didn't bring the acts, the tally sheets, with the electoral matter presented and the candidates that attended? There's another one there who was bought and even was given an apartment. Enrique Marquez. Say, who's the apartment where you live right now? It isn't yours. Say it. Since you live there, say it. You should say, whose it? Whose is it? Who gave it to you? That Mr. didn't present electoral material since he said he didn't have credited witnesses. Isn't it that he might be getting money for a while and now again? But with the material that exists and the law guard the electoral material corresponds to the Electoral Council. The law of electoral process express it like that to avoid that fraud, the brutal fraud that they did with those fake papers. The only thing that has value is the electronic vote and auditories to the electronic votes. And third, jurisdictional effects and impugnation. The National Electoral Council and cybernetic and physical material, electoral material. And that is the reason why they attacked brutally the electoral system of Venezuela in July 24th. I make another question. Who is winning an election, like they say, attack the electoral system to slower the counting process of votes? Since we were desperate for the results due to all the difficulties presented. No, it was not an electoral act. It was a coup d'etat. And what they wanted is that the attack was so brutal that the first emission could not be even presented. They didn't count with the fact that the Electoral National Council is strong and has this position and could get the voting records to inform. But look, the fourth issue of the sentence sucks. Talks about expertise, and nobody says anything. International media don't express a thing, and there were images.
Expertos nacionales e internacionales, y me atrevo a decir, no existe
International experts, and I dare to say there is no
no existe un científico
a scientist in Venezuela
con el nivel académico superior
with
a
the
estos técnicos
with an
que
academic level
la sala
beyond
del Consejo
or
Electoral. No existe.
better than these technicians.
Pero por arriba no hay.
There might be someone equal, but no one better.
Estadística,
Experts in
expertos en ciencias
statistics,
actuariales, expertos
in
en
actuals,
matemática,
in
expertos en
mathematics,
computación,
in computer
expertos en
science,
elecciones.
and in
Los
elections.
expertos, que se la da
These
que sabe mucho de
experts,
elecciones y en su vida ha contado un voto,
these that pretend
internacionales
to know
que
about elections,
acumulan entre los
the international experts accumulate between all of them
de elecciones donde han participado
hundreds of
como
elections where
autoridades
they have participated as
como
electoral authorities
electorales.
or just
¿Qué arrojó el peritaje? Con base
public.
en los resultados obtenidos,
The results of
el peritaje,
this
incluido en la sentencia.
auditory
Podemos
said
concluir que los
we
boletines
can
emitidos
conclude
por el Consejo
that
Nacional Electoral respecto a la
the,
elección presidencial
the ballots
2024
exposed by the
están
Electoral
respaldados
Council
por las actas de escrutinio emitidas por cada una de las máquinas de votación desplegadas en el proceso electoral, las 30.026
the
máquinas de votación, los 30.026
30,026
fueron analizados
electoral
por
machines
expertos.
and electoral results were analyzed by these experts. And in the same way,
Emitidas
the
por
tally
esas
sheets
30.026 máquinas mantienen
that these
una
machines exposed
coincidencia
have
con los registros de las bases
coincidence
de datos
with the
de los
registrations of the
centros nacionales
databases
de totalización.
of the National Centers of
Y
Totalization.
entonces, quinto de la sentencia,
And the fifth point of the sentence.
e inequívoca y con fundamento en el informe elaborado por los expertos electorales nacionales e internacionales,
With a fundament elaborated by the international expert, it is certified that the electoral material is certified and the elections are valid, where the citizen Nicolás Maduro Moros was elected President of the Republic of Venezuela for the period 2025-2031. That is how it was decided, expresses the sentence of the Supreme Court of Justice. Victory. Sixth point. They want that the Electoral Council publish the results. That is what the law, the organic law of electoral process of the Republic of Venezuela expresses. That the electoral results must be published in the Electoral Gazette that publishes the official results, not the results that fake papers express. That is the Electoral National Council. 7. Certified copies are given to the General Attorney of the Republic, Tarek, so that a research with a panel character is incorporated. All of the crimes presented related to the cyber attack with the publication in this webpage. We call it the golden pattern when something is confirmed, the diagnosis of a disease. The golden pattern of the fraud that they tried to attempt is the only thing that they did was publishing results in a web page and never brought to the National Electoral Council and the Supreme Court of Justice these
¿Dónde están?
tally sheets. Where are the tally
¿Dónde
sheets?
están?
Where are them?
Tan fácil que era. Mira, aquí están.
It was so easy.
Tribunal. Aquí las tengo.
Look, here I have them.
No, lo publicaron en
Judges.
resultados presidenciales Venezuela 2024.
They were
Por eso
published
atacaron el sistema electoral.
in a web page, and that's
Así como
why
el
they
fiscal
attacked
también
the
debe estudiar el
electoral
ataque cibernético
system.
contra el sistema electoral.
The same way the cyber attack
Los delitos comunes contra personas,
was
las
started.
agresiones, los asesinatos,
These anti-juridical behaviors, crimes, murders, electoral crimes, and constitutional crimes.
del ordenamiento jurídico. Una última cosa.
One last thing.
Artículo 162
Article
de la Ley Orgánica de Procesos
162 of the Organic Law of
Podrá
Electoral
ser
Processes.
impugnado por ante el Consejo Nacional Electoral
It can
a
be
través de
impugnated
recursos
by the
penales que
National
prevé
Electoral
este capítulo,
Council,
las candidatas o candidatos
the
que
candidates.
tienen cursos en causales de inelegibilidad en cualquier tiempo, salvo las condiciones de inelegibilidad susceptibles de ser convalidadas. Jurisdicción electoral, artículo 160. La jurisdicción
That
electoral
can
ejerce
cause
el Consejo
ineligibility.
Nacional Electoral y la sala electoral del Tribunal Supremo.
The jurisdiction elects the Electoral Council and the headquarters.
Artículo 165.
Article 165.
Recurso jerárquico.
Strategic resources
Que los abogados siempre ponen esos
is the
nombres
impugnations
para darle miedito a la gente que va a meter algún recurso.
that lawyers use to frighten
¿Qué es
people.
un recurso jerárquico? Yo no estoy de acuerdo
What is
con
a
algo
hierarchic
y voy
resource?
al sitio correspondiente
I'm not in agreement with
y meto
something,
papel.
and I
Yo
go
no
there
por esto, por esto, por
and
esto,
I
por esto.
use put a
El
paper
artículo
to complain.
165 dice
The
que
article
estos fariseos, que
expresses
estos farsantes,
that these people
20 días, el
had
recurso
20
jerárquico
days
se interpondrá ante el Consejo Nacional Electoral dentro de los 20 días hábiles
20 days
siguientes a la realización
following
o emisión del acto o
the
su
emission of
publicación.
the Electoral
Es
Act
decir,
of
desde el
its
28 de julio,
publishment.
29,
I mean,
30,
since
31,
July the 28th,
el
29,
17
and
de
30,
agosto venció ese lapso.
and 31. In
No
August
quieren ni un papel.
19,
Que son tan abogados
that expired, and they didn't
y
even
tan estudiosos
complain,
y que han
since
escrito
they are
libros de
lawyers
derecho. No sabían que tenían
and
un
have
recurso,
so
que
much
tenían 20 días
expertise,
para ir al
they
Consejo Nacional
didn't
Electoral
know
y
that
no
they had a
fueron.
resource,
Y después tenían un mes
and they
para ir
didn't
al
go.
Tribunal Supremo de Justicia y
And
el
then
candidato
they
ni se
had a
presentó,
month to go
ex-candidato,
to
ni
the
se
Supreme Court of
presentó.
Justice, and they didn't even
Esa es la
attend.
prueba
That is the proof
de lo que realmente intentaban hacer
of what they really, truly try to do,
y de lo que hicieron.
and of what they did.
Otra vez nos deben 25 muertos,
Again, they owe us
otra vez
25
mujeres
deaths.
y hombres del pueblo fueron
Again,
asesinados
women and men
impune y
of the
impune
people
o salvajemente.
were murdered brutally.
Otra vez intentaron sembrar el terror y claro,
They tried to cause terror
le
again
salió mal la cuenta.
and again.
Yo comencé
They
hablando
failed.
de las funciones de contrapeso y concomitancia entre los poderes públicos. Nosotros tenemos
I
una
was
responsabilidad.
talking about the functions of
La ley de
between
partidos políticos de Venezuela
public powers.
de
The law of
1964,
political parties of Venezuela,
de 1964,
established in
esa ley de partidos
1964.
políticos. Por cierto,
By the way,
en las elecciones de 1968,
in the elections of
el señor Marcos Pérez Jiménez resultó
1968,
con
Marcos
votos
Pérez Jiménez
obtenidos
was
para la senaduría de Caracas.
senator with
Y
the
después de haber sido electo, se le
most
anuló la elección y lo
votes.
metieron preso.
And after the election, the
Inventa la
elections
democracia
was
maravillosa de la que
annihilated
del
and he was
Ecuador.
arrested. The marvelous
Los
democracy of the
demócratas,
Republic.
que todos estudiaron en la Católica y en la Universidad Central
Democrats
y se pasaban el derecho por donde les daba la gana.
that didn't take serious the law.
Nosotros, a pesar de que esa ley en efecto tuvo una reforma
We-
importante en el año 2010, nosotros no
It
podemos
is
seguir
true,
trabajando
it had a
con una ley de
reform
partidos
in
políticos
2010.
que haya
We
sido
cannot keep
escrita
working with a law
por el
that was
fariseo
written
Jorge Rodríguez.
by these people.
No. Porque además
Since
cada
also
vez incurren en hechos más graves.
each time they commit
Esta Asamblea Nacional
crimes
tiene que
that
ser
are
de manera perentoria
worse.
para las elecciones que vengan en el futuro
this
de este
National
país,
Assembly
una
has
ley
to
de
be
partidos políticos que claramente
preventive.
se prohíba
for a political party's law that forbids that a person of this country can cause a coup d'etat and provoke an invasion from foreign countries. And also provokes the murder of people for political reasons. At least in Venezuela. I don't know about France or Germany. I don't know about Argentina or Brazil. But in Venezuela, fascists cannot be a candidate to any charge of public election. And it cannot be possible that there is a political party that in one way inscribes in prerogatives proportionated by the states, the CNA, it goes to the CNA and inscribes its party, but in other ways it's organizing little commandos and murdering people and assaulting houses and murdering people just because they look Chavistas. If they want. In our side, there's no problem. Go to the woods, the extreme rights. The extreme right guerrilla front, and we will act as the Constitution expresses. But if you want, go into what you always called and the democratic game. If you want to play the democratic game, the first thing you have to do is abide this sentence, and if you don't do it, you're out of the democratic game. Who doesn't abide this sentence is committing contempt. So then after, you don't run for any political party, because this law is not going to allow it. So a professor of mine said, psychiatrist does not give advice, but I allow myself to give an advice. Abide this. This is mandatory, and we all have to abide for it, all of us. As Al Gore did. This is mandatory. Governors of the 23 states of the country. We're saying this in advance. Majors of the 335 municipalities, we are warning you and advising you in advance. This is mandatory. Because after this political party's law is approved, if you once in your life provoke that mercenaries of foreign lands invade Venezuela, get another job, because you're not going to be a politician anymore. To make it clear, enough is enough. And to the person who asked to the Supreme Court of Justice, we answer the phrase from Hugo Chavez with a little change. There's a lot of courage in the Supreme Court of Justice of Venezuela. I honored the two judges of the Electoral Center of the Supreme Court of Justice, who were just and made the truth and courage and sovereignty prevail of this country and its institutions. Never again use the institutions to commit savage crimes, to promote destruction. Institutions are used to build. We will never allow them to be deputies again. We will not allow them to do what they did. A lot of courage there's there. Thank you very much.
La extraordinaria intervención del presidente del Parlamento venezolano, doctor Jorge